Hello and welcome back to Gabe's Burner. It's me, your host, Gabriel Dominguez, and today we're actually going to do a switch up. We're going to be taking a break from Ecclesiastes midway through, and I just wanted to do something different. So I'm titling this episode A Free Think. So the idea behind this is there's a lot of topics I want to talk about, but I can't expand on to make an entire episode. So this is basically six, thoughts I've had or ways of thinking I've had that I can now share in this platform because I have multiple of them to make an actual episode of it. So I'm calling this the free think. I believe that's a term coined already by someone. I don't care. Maybe I'll change it later, but we're just going to call it the free think. This is just going to be a list of thoughts that I have and ways of thinking that I do have. And this episode will have a theme. I have a few other themes for future ones. And this is just kind of to break away from the typical Bible study. I am reading Ecclesiastes and writing notes. I just wanted to do a different episode, talk about different stuff. I'm wearing the new Lone Dove shirt. This is the new Matthew 10:16 on lonedove.store. So go check that out. The first group of orders has officially been ordered as of August 14th. So we're going to get into this, and the title is kind of trendy. I don't mean it literally, but the title is just Stop Lifemaxing, or Lifemaxing, not Lifemaxing, Lifemaxing. We hear this maxing trend going on, and I just kind of titled it around that. I think some people life max or try to get the most out of life, try to optimize life, do all these things to a point that is kind of bringing more a negative approach. So I have six things I want to talk about that should kind of cover everything about life and my thinking. No one has to agree with me, and I'd love a debate with anybody that wants to debate. But this is just six things I've been thinking about, pondering over, like I said, they're not big enough to expand fully. Also, my PC that I edit this podcast on officially kind of died. The SSD went out randomly, which is weird because I just built it a few years ago. So I'm going to be editing the podcast on my laptop that might not be geared for it, but might be geared for it. So we're going to see if this is uploaded on Monday. You will know the laptop worked and we're good to go. I'm waiting for a warranty replacement on that because I don't know if you've seen the prices of memory. It's too much money. I'm not going to just go buy it. So one of the big things is, really quick on the whole memory situation, is a lot of the memory brands that made RAM, storage, all different types of memory actually went and are going full in on AI. So they're not supplying these RAM sticks and stuff to just normal everyday users, which led to a crazy price hike. Originally, when I bought 2 terabytes SSD Gen 4, it was $97. I had looked on Amazon for the same exact one just to see, and it was $505. So, I don't want to just willy-nilly buy another SSD, so I'm going the warranty route. But the laptop should hold over and be fine for us in the meantime. So let's roll the intro. Let's get into it. And we are back. So to start this off, I want to start with number 1, why over-optimization is ruining your life. Over-optimization I'm talking about, I've been a victim to it. I know it happens. I'm talking about making sure your sleep's always on point, wearing, the sleep ring or Apple Watch. when you try to over optimize the gym, your diet, and you're really just like every little thing, how to take notes or what you write with, which I do as well. But I think one thing I've noticed about over optimizing your own life is that it really takes the enjoyment out of anything. If you wake up and your sleep score is 50 and it immediately puts you in a mood of, well, I'm not going to have a good day. I'm not going to have energy because my watch told me I didn't get the sleep score that I need. So now my whole day sucks. Maybe gym results. You're optimizing all these different movements and weights that you're lifting, diet to fill the diet side of it to put on muscle or whatever your goals are. And it's just not working that well. So you just keep trying to be like, oh, well, I got to change this. I got to change this. I got to change this. And it's kind of a back and forth fight on what's correct, what's wrong. Secondly, it just creates stress from things that don't need to be stressful. Your sleep score does not need to make you stress about sleep and about the day because you maybe didn't get the score that your phone, your watch tells you that you should get. I think it just creates a lot of extra stress that's unneeded. And as someone that has fallen victim to it, it's not a good place to be. For me, it brought me to a very dark place many times because I'm like, man, I just got to do better. I got to optimize this. This is off. That's why my whole day is messed up because I didn't drink my coffee at 9 a.m. like I usually do. It's sometimes I've gotten to the point at least where I just want to live. That's it. Obviously, I go to the gym. I have disciplines and responsibilities I need to take care of. But I just feel that sometimes just living is more freeing than optimizing your wake up routine and your sleep routine and your midday routine and all these like different things. I think optimization is great when you're building a new system. Let's say you've never gone to the gym, you've never dieted, you're like, I want to take control of my health. Having that big shift of optimization and building a system, a routine, that's when optimization's good. Over-optimization is like overthinking in my head, is overthinking about what you're optimizing. If it's work, school, gym, life, external, things you do on the side. I think then it can become where you just don't enjoy any of it. Lastly, you're always chasing the next level of improvement, and I think that's the problem. That's where over-optimizing creates this stress and taking enjoyment out of things is, yeah, okay, I've been doing good here, but now I need to get to this level of body fat percentage or this income level or this house, this car. It's a never-ending thing, and I think this ties in. The reason why I'm talking about a lot of this is this does tie into Ecclesiastes. So these are some thoughts that have came from reading Ecclesiastes, and I'm just trying to, melt them into our reality now and how I see it. But yeah, over-optimization I think is good. I think it's good to optimize your life and be, better, disciplined, have these systems. But I do think it comes to a point where it's like, you're not even enjoying what you're doing anymore. Like, I enjoy going to the gym. I've been in this over-optimizing loop before, and I didn't even enjoy going to the gym. It was just something I had to do to be the most perfect whatever I wanted to be at the time. Number 2, self-improvement can become self-hatred. So this is something I am a big victim of to this day, trying to beat it. Luckily, the Bible and Jesus have saved a lot of that element of me, because I did have a lot of self-hatred, because I've talked about in the past, I had this sense of, I had like the devil on my shoulder, but I didn't have the angel. So now I got the angel fighting the devil, and I'm a lot better off. But I know some people just have that devil on their shoulder, and it could lead to a world of self-hatred. That's why Anakin Skywalker's fake life interests me so much. So first, love yourself now. Well, let me reread the prompt real quick, because I got off. Self-improvement can become self-hatred. Love yourself now, love yourself later. That's my quote for this section. And what I mean is, if you don't love yourself now, like if I were to hate myself now, and I'm like, I'm going to go to the gym to physically make myself better. I'm going to go back to college to mentally make myself better. But if I'm coming from a place of hatred, it's a lot harder to get to a place of self-love, because I've lost the weight. I've been the heavier set person that lost the weight. I still didn't love myself. I've been the person that, started minimum wage, and now I've, slowly worked myself up and been quite successful at my job. I'm not rich to anybody's standards, but the more money that came in, I didn't love myself more. And until I loved myself truly, like truly from the bottom of my heart, not just saying it, that's when my life unlocked and I could just go. That's when the confidence came in. So I do preach to just practice loving yourself. And obviously, biblically, is like one of the biggest Bible verses, love yourself as your neighbor, or love your neighbor as yourself. Well, if you don't love yourself, how are you going to have love out? And that's one thing I also have to say to a lot of men that are single and kind of feel like, I'm just not going to find my person. You're wrong. There's a person for everybody, for sure. May not be the perfect fit, but there's a person for everybody. And it comes from a place of loving yourself first. I've noticed a lot of men that are like, I'm never going to find anybody. I'm not cool enough. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough whatever. They always don't have enough. And they're just not accepting and loving of themselves. I think if a man was to truly love himself, and I'm not saying in a prideful way, I'm saying, hey, I'm a good guy. I deserve a woman. I don't know, maybe not deserve is the correct term, but I could find a girl that could date me. But you're like, I got to love myself. Maybe I'll start taking care of myself. Start cooking some better meals, start being a little bit healthier, work out, take care of myself. That was one of the big things that I could show myself I loved myself, is by taking care of myself. There's so many people in the world that will take care of others. Mothers are just great, nurturing characters in all of our lives. Mother, grandma, whatever. Women in general. And sometimes they don't, love themselves. They'll make you food, they'll clean, they'll do all this stuff. And the same from a dad's perspective as well. They might, I'm thinking of very stereotypical right now, but like a man will clean the yard and clean the cars and, protect the family. And, but sometimes those men, those women don't love themselves to take care of themselves. There's so much value in self-care. Obviously, it's great to have a partner that takes care of you. That's awesome. I do think men and women play a vital role together to help each other in life and be those partners and become one flesh. But you have to love yourself to love somebody else. So I would just try to prioritize a little bit of self-care. If you're in a rut right now, man or woman, do some self-care. If you don't go to the gym, try to go a couple times a week. Just go on the treadmill. You don't have to do any lifting or anything crazy. Just do activities that maybe you don't necessarily want to do, but it's better for you, and it feels very freeing. It makes you feel, I feel like a little bit, more independent, a little stronger, gives a little confidence of like, yeah, I can do this. So that's my rant. I think self-improvement comes with self-hatred, because it's just constant thoughts of, I'm not enough. I need to be better. And that's a wishy-washy place to be in. That's a 50-50 place to be in, because you might not literally be saying I'm not enough, but in your head you're like, I'm not there yet. You have this illusion, almost your brain almost says, that's where I should be, and I'm not. I deserve to be there. And you don't. We all have to work for it, right? We all have different variables in life that get us there quicker or later than others. So we don't necessarily deserve anything. But that could breed a lot of self-hatred, because you're like, I should be there and I'm here. I suck. I'm not enough. Lastly, self-improvement can lead to, and I think the first one, the over-optimization, could lead to moving goalpost. So you might have a goal of making X amount of money a month or losing this much weight. I use these examples a lot because they're very easy to translate. So think of me as a translator of this brain that's very weird and random. But when you move the goalpost, you never celebrate the goals you do hit. I'm the biggest victim of this. I move the goalpost for myself constantly. My friends literally, one of my closest friends literally said, Gabe's always just boosting up his stats. And I don't do it in a prideful way. I don't do it for recognition. I just am constantly on this trail of self-improvement, being a better person, being more efficient in life with myself. But it does lead to never celebrating. When I bought my house, I didn't really celebrate. I didn't have a housewarming party until the Super Bowl, and the excuse for the party was the Super Bowl. It wasn't for housewarming, right? I don't need a parade to celebrate the wins. And I think that sometimes I should throw a little parade for myself. And that's going back to the self-care. You go to the gym, you do X, Y, and Z. You need to celebrate your little wins. It doesn't have to be a big celebration. Obviously, you don't need to throw a party in your house or something, but just something that says, hey, good job, dude. Like, to yourself. Because I think sometimes we don't understand that we can root for ourselves. It's okay. It doesn't have to be prideful, right? There's a lot of things where I'm like, hey, you did that. Good job. And I think sometimes if you can add that voice into your head versus the negative voice, it could just combat it directly. So number 3, turning hobbies into side hustles can ruin passion. This is a big one for me because I have a lot of hobbies. I always have. My one-to-one example I could give is photography. I love photography. I love taking photos. I love doing video. I love it all. I used to do it for money when I was younger. Not for a lot of money. I was just trying to cover gas money and make some extra money on the side. I didn't have bills at the time, so it didn't really matter. Sorry. But it enjoyed the passion behind the projects a lot of times. That's why a lot of times when I do offer my services or get asked, it's usually family or friends, like, hey, could you do this for me? Like, I don't really have money to be doing X, Y, and Z. And I'll do it, for like a really cheap rate that would be way cheaper than an actual photographer, because I don't really care. But when I did try to make it full-time or more full-time than just, random side things, it brings in a lot of things. So like if you were to I didn't really make it into like a full business, but if you were to make one of your hobbies into an actual business, you introduce things to your hobby that you didn't have. It's pressure, which would come with like deadlines and customers that push those deadlines and want things now and want what they paid for. And then there's even like the marketing of your business. You're introducing now marketing to a hobby that you just enjoyed doing. Some people adapt very well. I will say my hobbies, like doing the podcast and, I guess I would consider them hobbies for now, and Lone Dove, they're more of kind of passion projects. I've made no money with this podcast, and I've lost money with Lone Dove. So I'm not doing it necessarily for profit. Maybe one day, but I've never really had this. I've had a passion to make a clothing brand, but I think I've had more of a passion of being creative and sharing that with the world, and obviously sharing the good news. But I didn't directly have like a clothing passion. I didn't grow up around making t-shirts in like a t-shirt company. So I guess I don't have that direct. And I also have more of a business mind towards Lone Dove going into it. And it's the podcast, I feel like, is more of a passion project. This is something I don't really ever think will make money, but if it does, cool. But this one's 100% more of a hobby than an actual business. But sometimes it's just good to enjoy things. Sometimes it's good to just have these passions and these hobbies that you can just enjoy without the pressures, the stresses of like customers, marketing, and maybe if you quit your job to pursue it, then you're throwing in a whole nother curveball to your hobby. So sometimes it's good to just enjoy things. I feel like everyone wants to turn something they're half decent at into a business. Some of it works. Sometimes it's good if you just kind of like you're just good at something, but maybe you're not passionate about it, and finding a way to utilize that as a business is what I've heard from a lot of entrepreneur type minded people. So maybe that's something. Find something you're good at and sell that. Don't try to always sell your hobbies. So number 4, this is kind of me. I use the word hate, which is a little extreme, but hate for constant access. So this is your social media, text, call, etc. What I mean by this is I really don't enjoy this world of social media and obviously like our phones, because it gives everybody access to you like that. That's cool. It is, it has its pros and cons, right? I think with relationships, it's a little hard. I don't know if you got that. I just burped a little bit. I don't think you heard it. Hopefully not. Sorry about that if you did. So I feel like relationships don't blossom as naturally. You might go on a first date with a girl, and then she's blowing up your phone, or vice versa. You're blowing up her phone, and she's like, dude, this guy's annoying. I think you also, with relationships, you can't get a good read on a person through text. So I think real meetups are most valuable to any relationship going past, the talking stage. But I think I actually prefer, when I was dating at least, to not like blow people's phone up, and I don't want them to blow me up. We're in like this small stage. Let's kind of just have a few more dates. And then as it kind of blossoms, you'll just naturally want to text more. I think it's hard to miss people sometimes because you do have that access to them. It might not be physically in front of you, but you're texting with people. You know how they talk. What they're doing. So I think it's kind of hard to have access to everybody at all the time. Access to everyone all the time. I think it makes a lot of problems too. You might have a friend that's like, it's so easy to text me. Why aren't you texting me? And it's like, I just have life, So I try not to stay on my phone too much. But this also leads to not hanging out in real life more often and making it more normal to just text, FaceTime, and all of those are grand. Like, I'm not trying to put down anybody that FaceTimes a lot, anybody that talks on the phone a lot. I just think it is given access to people in in a way that is like hard to understand sometimes, because it's like someone could just call me right now and just full blown talk to me, have a conversation. We could even FaceTime. They could see me. And that's like crazy to think about, because, 20 years ago, there was no cell phones, or if there was, it was those huge brick phones that like only the rich people had. Now it's like weird if you didn't have a cell phone that's touchscreen and has like full access, obviously. So yeah, I just don't like access. I don't like that everyone can access everyone all the time. I think I've built a good circle with my social media and just people around me, to where I don't feel that way with anybody in my life. But I do see how it could be hard for younger kids to meet people because they're so used to just being on their phones. And I just see it's going to be a continued problem as hopefully I have kids. It's going to be the same thing. It's just going to be difficult. There's always access. There's weird people in the world, and that gives them access. So that's why there's these pros and cons. It is amazing to be able to FaceTime, grandparents or something if they're in a different state. So that's really cool. That's like a big pro. But okay, number 5. Being busy isn't being productive. So this was something I had to learn, because when I was younger, I was always busy, but realistically, I wasn't moving anywhere. I wasn't being productive. I was just busy. I think for me, is being the busy person gave me a sense of being important, even though I wasn't doing anything that would breed this mindset. Like you can be busy all day and still do nothing, right? You could be busy watching TV and do nothing. You could be busy and just sitting here recording a podcast and do nothing. Think about this. I could record this whole podcast, never upload it, and just ever. I would be busy doing this for nothing. Like what else would I get by recording all of this? I'd get nothing. So I just think in my eyes, I try to be more efficient in what I'm doing, because I know I'm going to be stuck at work for a good amount of my time. So I think it's best to, outside of that, whatever time I do get at home, to just be super efficient about, okay, let me clean here, do this one night, next night do this, which this is the optimization I was talking about, but it's not over optimization. I'm still happy. I still have free time for myself for activities like this. But yeah, being busy isn't being productive. Be more efficient, actually be productive. I think being productive should always be moving forward in an efficient way. If you are spending 8 hours on a task that if you became more efficient at would be 4, you're wasting your time and ultimately money if you're building a business, or just, time is money. Time is of value. It's not directly money. There's no direct correlation of time and money together, but time is very valuable, and I don't think we take account how valuable it truly is. So lastly, we got stop waiting to be the person you want to be. I've actually had a conversation with people looking for a sense of direction and understanding of what to do next in their life. And they want to do X, Y, and Z. I always tell them, unless you're really good at one of them or two of them, try to narrow it down to like one. That's so embarrassing. I'm sorry. Try to narrow it down to one and become efficient and good at it first. See if you enjoy it. My big thing too is just do it. Literally just go. I think a lot of times for myself and others that I have talked to, we're in this sense of, well, I don't know. Like, I maybe I'll try it, but I don't know. And I just don't know how to get through to people by just saying, just do it. I learned my lesson. I started this podcast this year, started Lone Dove. Not that it's like some big thing, but I've been just doing it. And the progression that has come through, the evolution of the brand already in the span of like 6 months is huge. From just doing things, and slowly you get better and better. Your brain thinks differently. Especially when you're doing a lot of stuff that's like newer, like a graphic design and stuff's kind of like, I know bare fundamentals, but it's still new and the ideas are new. I'm spending more time on like computer side stuff. Like, okay, I got to do this step to this step to this step to this step. Well, now when I go do something, I already know how to do that. So now my brain isn't even thinking about, okay, this step, this step. In my head, I'm like, okay, dun, 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 and then I'm doing what I need to get done. So my big thing is just do it, even if it's not good. Alex Hormozzi recommends, if you want to do something new, to do 20 hours on it. Like 2 days, 20 hours. So you could do 10, 10, 12, 8, whatever. If it's like, he used the example of building a website. So if you were to put 20 hours, so 10 and 10, in 2 days on building a website, learning all of that stuff, right? You're not going to have a good website. You might not even have a website built, but you will be so much further in progression than you would have been if you just kind of put it off. Or kind of did 30 minutes a day here, 30 minutes here, an hour here. If you were to do that, it would take you so long to get to that point of just hunkering down for 2 days and just getting the work done. And then now you have this foundation of knowledge you gained in just 2 days of time. And you can, move forward from there. I think this is a great approach. I've definitely had my fair share of days where I just hunker down and just do a bunch of stuff for whatever I'm working on. And the biggest quote, or actually I'll get the quote last, but the next thing is, take life for the cards you are dealt and just play. That's my quote. You might have these cards and you're like, I don't know, like this is okay, I guess, yeah, blah, blah. Just play with the cards you're dealt. Pretend you're all in, you got your cards, you need to deal with them. There's no folding, there's none of this. Just go. I think the biggest problem with myself was just not going and just constantly putting something in front, an object or an obstacle in front. Well, I can't do this until this is done, but then there's that, so can't do it. I should have released Lone Dove last year, but I just sat on it because I needed a shipping label printer. And there's some people that are opposite of me. I'm very kind of this optimization approach, or just kind of perfectionist, where everything has to line up perfectly for me to actually execute, or things have to be conservative enough for me to be like, I can't fail if I do it now. Now I'm starting to live in that, I don't know what's going to happen, I'm just going to do it and see what happens state. And that has been so freeing, has just brought so much self-confidence on myself. It's just been amazing. So I just recommend just go. Even if you fail, oh well, you learn something, and the next time gets easier and it gets easier and it gets easier. These repetitive patterns of doing things makes life and things easier. That's why when you build systems to make a healthier life, or just better choices in life, when you build these systems, it becomes routine where you don't have to think about it anymore. It's hard to build the systems, though, sometimes, especially if they're the opposite of what you're already doing now. So lastly, the quote I want to leave this off with is, to be the person you've never been, you have to do things you have never done. I carried this quote with me a lot. I know it's a little bit cliche, maybe a little bit cringy for some, but it is true. You have to think of, okay, if I want to be that person, the stuff I've been doing has not gotten me there or even close. So I need to do stuff I've never done. Like for me, losing weight, I've been kind of struggling with it. I've talked to you guys about. I meant to do a weight transformation update. Weight's coming down a little bit, not as fast as I'd like. But I've now come to a point where I'm going to need to do some things I've never really done, like full-blown cardio days. I don't do that. Never done it. But I'm at the point where I'm like, I need to try stuff I've never done to be who I've never been. I've never been in this position. I've been at this weight before when I was heavier and losing weight, but I've never been like muscular in this weight because my body looks a lot different than it did when I was at this weight back then. So yeah, just do it. Just go. Life truly is too short to, and I know that's cliche for sure. Life is too short, but it is. I mean, it's like you blink and another year passes. It's actually kind of crazy. As I've gotten older, I realize that like when you're in high school, when you're in grade school, you're like, no, whatever, I'm still young, blah, blah, blah. But when you start getting your upper 20s, you start like, I'm an adult now. I can't mess up. In your early 20s, you can mess up and people are like, he's just a kid. He's an idiot, whatever. They move on. But when you're 28 and you're messing up or doing something stupid, everyone's going to hold you accountable to that because that's who you are at that point. Like that's not you just being dumb and young and not really understanding things. But yeah, so I hope this free think episode was fun. I actually really enjoyed it. I just came up with it this morning because I was going to continue the Bible study, but I was like, I kind of want to do something different. I want to talk off of biblical stuff. I want to just talk about things that I think of, and I thought of this idea. So there will be more free things. This will be the Stop Lifemaxing episode. So this is stuff really just revolving around life in general, but I think I might do one that's like spiritual, all different things that I'm interested in. Even finance, I can do a free think on what I think of people spending and how they spend it, and any ideas that come to mind, I usually write down, and then it formulated this episode, and there's a few more that I could add to another episode. So, lonedove.store. I know I've been saying it a lot. I will continue to say it a lot. That is my clothing brand. I'm wearing one of the shirts now. There's about 20 pieces of clothing available now on lonedove.store. If you want to go check it out, I appreciate it. If not, no worries. I would appreciate if you could just check it out or drop a follow on Instagram, lonedove_. But that is all up to you entirely. So I want to just say thank you guys for making it to the end of this podcast. This was Free Think Stop Lifemaxing. It's me, your host, Gabriel Dominguez, signing out. See ya. Peace sign was, sorry, I had to break. Peace sign was a bad choice. I don't like that. So I'm going to leave it in because this is kind of funny, but I almost did it again. I don't know why I want to do a peace sign right now, but I will see you guys next week. We're going to do the finger point. We're going to do like the news anchor, but I will see you guys next week. Have a good day. Hour, minute, second. Peace.